Hello again and welcome back everybody to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC and I apologize for not being here yesterday and I apologize for it being dark. Yesterday I woke up with the craziest migraine that I've had in a long time and it's trying to go away. So I'm not one for excuses. So I'm going to do my best to struggle through one of these daily headlines reports for you guys. So let's see if I can get through this. Now, first thing is first. Merry Christmas to everybody. And I was up a little bit last night. And let me move over. Proof that Santa Claus did fly last night. Caught him on flight 24 flight tracker. And so I watched him make a few rounds. Now, let me jump into these again in no particular order. It looks like there's reports that on January the 8th, there is a general strike trying to form in Germany. If this is successful and does go on, it could be the largest strike for the country. That is expected to include such companies like trucking companies, machining and tooling companies, as well as chemical companies. Reading on this, if this goes on, this could make kind of that trucker thing in Canada look very, very small. Then again, it hasn't happened yet. It may not happen, but it's another one of those ones. Time will tell. Speaking of over there, there's a report that came out that said that at least 50 fertilizer production facilities have closed around Europe. Now, 75% of the cost to make nitrogen fertilizers is the cost of gas. So just the cost of gas is 75% of the cost. Now, it's expected because of this that the EU will have no fertilizer and be forced to basically majorly import either grain or fertilizer or both for the next year on 2024. So it's something to keep your eye on. Now, speaking of that, for it being in the fertilizer, the Federation of Food Industries has issued a food shortage warning for 2024. So that seems to coincide and agree with each other. Next, thousands of protesters yesterday shut down the famous Oxford Street in London. If you don't know what that is, it's actually one of the busiest shopping places over there. And they did it on Christmas Eve, a pretty busy shopping day. So just thought that was interesting to throw in. Next, the Houthis have issued a threat that they plan or could be planning to destroy internet and communications cables in the Red Sea. Now, it's like most of the stuff that they've done in the past, it's right now it's just words. Until there's actions, you just take note of it and move on and see what happens. On this, unless they have some help, they have no ability to be able to go and touch those cables, at least not to my knowledge. Do they have weapons? Do they have, things that can cause some damage? Yes. Do they have the ability to go down into the Red Sea and do anything to these cables? No, I don't think that they do, unless they got some secret thing or they've got some help somewhere. I think that out of everything that I've read so far, out of all their threats, this is the one that's completely empty words. Again, my opinion. Now, this one's all over the place. I'm going to try and keep it short. I have a bunch of thoughts on this. I know thinking for me today is probably not the best idea. But, okay, so there is confirmation that F-16s, American F-16s, have been sent over to Ukraine. Now, the odd part of this is nobody can agree on how many are actually in country or the total number. They bounce around all over the place. What they do agree on is that not all of them are in country. And so the big thing is there is chatter that the ones that are not in country are in NATO territories or NATO countries, which would make sense. But the chatter says that the plan is for these F-16s to fly out of these NATO countries across the border, carry out missions, striking targets, and then fly back into NATO countries. Now, Russia's already come out and said, if you do this, then those airports that those F-16s are using will become legitimate targets. Okay, I can't fault them for saying that. But then that brings up the fear of an Article 5. So again, we've talked about this ad nauseum before. One action can spin the entire world into chaos. And literally, one F-16 takes off from wherever, Poland, Germany, whatever, flies across the border, doesn't even do anything, maybe fires a missile and doesn't even hit anything. Because they flew across the border and as trying to turn around and go back, if Russia shoots and hits that, I mean, you're talking about a course of a half an hour and it could spiral everything out of control. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. Could it happen? Yeah, it definitely could, unfortunately. So just keep an eye out. Now, the final note on this one, before we move to our next topic, is, in my opinion, this is the final straw for Ukraine as far as Washington's going to be concerned. This is going to be, all right, here's some F-16s. Show us that it does something. Make some sort of, improvement, that you've done something with them. And then it's going to be depending on that outcome. If it does something, if they can make some sort of strategic anything, then now people that's trying to gain funds and rally everything around them will have something to use. If it does nothing, then I think, that's going to be it. There's going to be no more help. So it's an important data point to keep that in mind. Let's see. So speaking of Russia, in just about a week's time, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Iran, Ethiopia, and Argentina will officially join BRICS. I probably don't have to go into too much detail about why that's important to keep an eye on it. It's something that I think a lot of people don't give its due credit for, and don't be surprised if I don't bring that up over the next few days. The next one is Israel carried out an airstrike in Syria that has killed Saeed Razi, I don't know how to pronounce over there, Mousavi, who was a Iranian commander, probably the closest with Soleimani, if you remember that name. This killing of him has very much angered Iran. They even went to social media and was posting how angry they were and that revenge is definitely coming. So we will see. There's been reports that Iran is definitely plotting something, and Israel is bracing for whatever that retaliation / revenge is going to look like. So again, another one of those. We'll wait and see what happens. Swinging it back, I only got a couple of things here in the homeland. So I'm sure probably a ton of you are aware of that ATF stuff. It's floating all around social media. If you haven't, there's a lot of reports coming around that the ATF has given an update to the exemption on illegal immigrants being able to obtain and purchase firearms. Now, I'm guessing in this research, this has something to do with California, New York, Chicago, all that. That is making it to where illegal immigrants do not have to have citizenship status in order to become law enforcement. So we'll see. Okay. I mean, I've already said it. I know a couple of you have disagreed, and that's fine. You can fully disagree. And if nothing happens next year, I'll be thankful that you were correct. I really don't want anything bad to happen, but I think next year's not going to be a fun year. Is it going to be the total collapse and anarchy and chaos? I don't know. It has potential to be, but that could very well be in 2025, 2030. It could not be in our lifetimes. I don't know. I think, though, next year is going to be some crazy stuff. So, a sad report of multiple people being shot inside the Paddock Mall in Florida. I was doing a little bit of research on that. I know a couple of you live down in Florida, so you might be able to give better updates than I can. I know where I left off. There was no motive, and I think the shooter was still at large, and they're still disagreeing on number of dead and wounded out of that. So if I get the chance, I will update you hopefully tomorrow on those numbers. Now, the last thing is take with a grain of rice. It's just interesting, okay? So the CBS correspondent, Kathy Hertage, I don't know if I pronounced that right, and frankly, I don't care, but she was on Face the Nation, where she made a prediction of a black swan event for next year. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I very well think that there could definitely be a black swan event. Now, where that is and what it is, I have no clue. I don't know if it's going to be something small in the beginning of the year. I don't know if it's going to be something big towards the end of the year. I have no clue. I have no crystal ball, no special mutant ability, any of that stuff. I'm just trying to read the writing on the wall and compare it to history and see what shakes loose. Just my gut on a lot of the stuff that's going on. There's going to be some stuff that's going to go. Now, if you want to know what it is, then I think I will do a live on New Year's Eve, and I'm going to go through and do a what I think is going to happen, like a New Year's Eve predictions for 2024. That's the plan anyway, subject to change, because as you can definitely tell, I am human, and we'll see what happens. So pray for me that hopefully I can feel better and all that. We had a good Christmas. Everybody that's reached out and everything, thank you so much for stopping in and thinking about me and the family. The little one is spoiled to death. He got everything he asked for times 10. Every family member, neighbors, everybody got him stuff. So yeah, he's happy and great. Mrs. Earl got a whole bunch of stuff. She's great. I mean, I've got everything and I've still got stuff that I haven't even opened yet. So I can't even tell you everything that I got, but some of the cool stuff I'll be sharing with you guys in the future. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for taking your time to sit down and listen to a crazy guy mumble on about his opinions about all this stuff. So joke there. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. More information to come. And say it with me, because hopefully I can get through the ending. Above everything else, remember to remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.